Hello, my friends. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. My name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. And today we're actually talking about something that I find really interesting. We're talking about second chancers. Now, what does second chancers mean? Okay, so real quick, when I was young, I would see people who were acting drunk and people who were struggling, and seeing people struggle, seeing people, I don't want to say act out, it made me not want to, well, it made me want to distance myself from that. Seeing somebody who was struggling, seeing somebody who was falling down drunk, or you could see they're having a bad day or they're really messed up. And so that imprinted on me at such a young age what alcoholism and substance abuse can do. And I didn't want to have any of that in my life. And as I grew older, I came to the point where I was like, hey, you know what? I made the decision I didn't want to have this in my life. And what I wanted to do instead was to live a completely different, somewhat normal life. But instead, it evolved into something completely different. But what I did do is I said, hey, you know what? Just because I see somebody who is struggling, just because I see somebody who is having a little bit of a challenge, doesn't mean I need to pass judgment onto that. Fast forward 5, 10, 15 years, I actually got to the point where I myself was struggling. I myself was having a hard time. And it wasn't until I started the process of recovery, and it wasn't until I started waking up to these concepts of being open-minded and allowing help in. But when I got to the point where I started exploring that part of myself, I started to appreciate some of the concepts I held at a younger age. Thinking back to, I remember growing up specifically, like I had a hard time in a family environment because I was directly impacted by what alcohol can do to a family. And those feelings that I had at a young age, I don't have a family of my own, but that same feeling is what I was creating for others. And that realism started to shake me when I entered recovery, when I went into sobriety, when I started opening up my mind to a much larger picture. And it's crazy. It takes those experiences before you're willing and open to allow that to come in. So the concept I had about, well, I'm just going to exclude alcoholism and I'm not going to partake in anything growing up. And in trying to avoid all those things, that is exactly what I ended up creating. In trying to become something trying to push myself into becoming something completely different, I ended up becoming the thing I didn't want to do. So it's really interesting how, where you put your mind, where you put your focus, that's where you're going to go. So if you're in a car and you're driving and you turn and you look and you see there's a wall, if you look at the wall, you're going to naturally turn to go into that wall. So even as a kid, as I was growing up, I had this idea about what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to involve myself in alcoholism or any substance abuse. But sure enough, in focusing my mind and not wanting these things, that is exactly what I manifested into my life. There's a better things I can do with my manifesting ideas and beliefs. But still, nonetheless, it's crazy what the mind can do and what the body will make happen. So getting back to second chances, where the belief I had coming into it and what actually took place was completely different. I heard about this. There's this actor named Danny Tejo. I don't know how to say it, but he's like this Mexican actor, and he's in those like the Expendables, like he's in all those action heavy B-rated movies, but there's so many of them, and he's in all these movies, but he's a well-known actor. Anyway, he's taken his profits and he started up a restaurant chain of tacos. So he has a taco restaurant chain and they serve all sorts of tacos. I was looking at the menu earlier. It's pretty amazing what he's done, but he employs what he considers second chancers. And that kind of piqued my interest, because then I looked up a little more about what he meant by second chancers, and he himself has had his struggles. But him employing second chancers allows them to have that sense of fulfillment, that allows them that sense of achievement, gives them a sense of purpose is what I mean. And if you give somebody something to work towards, if you give them something greater than themselves, and if you believe in them, that can shift the person's mindset. You know, sometimes it's hard to believe in yourself, and it can make it a little bit easier when somebody else believes in you first. And to you know, at that level, you know, even though he's an actor and he probably makes $1 bazillion, he's chosen to go ahead and employ these people who he considers the second chancers, giving them that ability to move forward in their life. And I thought that was kind of fun. I thought that was kind of a cool message, kind of a neat idea. And what ended up happening is when I was in recovery and they ended up completing my treatment, I got to stay in contact with a couple of the guys. There are quite a few of the guys, but one of the guys, he actually went, and this is before we had a flood in Calgary a few years back, and before the flood, he was able to put together a crew of guys and was able to go around and help these families who needed assistance with the flood. And with the flood, you need all the help you can get. And what ended up happening was eventually those guys, through that work, through that giving their time, helping those families out, they were able to go and get skills, and they were able to go and form a company of their own. So it turned out to being this donating of time turned into a whole ensuite of guys who developed skills who were able to help because of those second chancers. So while there are things that can happen, hey kitty, there are things that can happen that are catastrophic, but they don't need to be. If we can pull together and we can believe in ourselves, we can believe in one another. So if we can see each other going and we're struggling, we're having our challenges, believing in that person, even though you might be seeing them in the worst possible state, can make the world of a difference. It can help shape the outcome. Like you're not the one that's responsible, of course, but yet you can have an influence on that by simply believing that person, by giving them that second chance. Now, I'm not saying that everybody goes and deserves that. What I am saying, though, is having an open mind can help create an outcome that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to see or appreciate. Okay, so circling back to this, what does this mean? I want to shape these into actions and gratitude. So the gratitude of today, I want to be thankful for today, and I'm celebrating today because my higher power will help me. He'll always remind me what things were like before, and will help remind me of how things are now. And it helps me appreciate how much has grown, how much has changed, how much I'm thankful for, and how much that struggle can be challenging. And it helps me appreciate that the person that I see can be struggling, even though I may not see it. But that doesn't mean that I can't still give them that opportunity, give them that second chance, give them that ability to grow and blossom and bloom into something much greater than either they don't see it right now, but maybe somebody needs to believe in them more than they believe in themselves. Okay, and for the action of the day, I wanted an action to go and say, today I'm going to respect my illness. Today I'm going to go and challenge myself to look for the beauty in the moment. Not all moments are going to be beautiful, of course, but that doesn't mean I can't take the opportunity to look beyond the circumstances to see something greater. I saw this thing once where I think it was Deepak Chopra, and he was saying, if you look at the world as 365 degrees of mirrors, not so much in the sense where you're looking out and you see where things separate you from everywhere else, but if you were to go and look at the world as if it's 365 mirrors, but facing inwards. So when you're looking out, you're looking for aspects of yourself in other people. Now, it's not in a self-righteous way, but it's more in the effect of if you can find a way to help identify parts of you, and if you can help recognize certain parts of you in the other person, that helps build that bond, that relationship, so that you can build that connection, rather than looking for a reason to separate you from everywhere else. Kind of like how I was in the beginning when I was sharing the story about growing up. I was looking for ways to distance myself from this outcome that I didn't want, this belief in the ability. I wanted nothing more. I didn't want to associate it with anything that was related to alcohol or substance abuse. But in the end, just like that race car driver is looking at the wall, I can't help but turn into it. And then, sure enough, here we are. But thankfully, I'm here. Thankfully, I'm able to help shape this. I can have conversations about it. I can help encourage others to saying, hey, you know what? There's another way. It doesn't always have to be this way. Okay. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate this. I'm working on getting more smaller episodes out and have them more frequent. I've built a guide in case you wanted to go check out what those are. I put a link down below or up above. So it's outstanding.video/guide. And that will go and get you a Facebook message where you can start seeing all the other videos. And it'll walk you through the guide. It's actually pretty cool. Or if you want to get reminders when we go live, every week we're going to have Q&As. So if you have questions, shoot me an email, write me a message, write it in the comments below. We'll be more than happy to get you the answers. And when I do those Q&As, I'm going to send out a message to get you notified. And so if you want to get a message reminder, type show in the comments. And again, we'll get a message sent out to you. Or if you want the guide, again, go check out the guide. Thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate you guys. I love all the messages and the hearts and everything you guys share. But take care and have fun. Bye.